Hi everyone, Ryan Duffy here, Ruminant Technical Manager with Precision Microbes. I'm back with another installment of Tech in 10, where the Precision Microbes team are given 10 minutes every week to go through a technical topic. Now, Matthias, you're going to hit the timer there for 10 minutes, so off we go. This week I'm going to focus on the science of oral fluid therapy and the relevance that it has in calf rearing enterprises in Ireland. Now, regardless of the pathophysiological process that is occurring, be that hypersecretion, be that malabsorption or otherwise, or regardless of what pathogen there is on farm causing scour, the same hallmark features are present. And here we have them down here. Gut inflammation. At the end of the day, scour is known as neonatal calf enteritis. The itis representing an inflammatory process. We also have fluid deficits, electrolyte derangements, acid-base corruption, nutritional alterations, a reduced immunocompetence, and on top of this too, gut dysbiosis. So I'm going to go through a few of these. We'll start with fluid deficits because we are talking about the science of fluid therapy. So in respect to fluid deficits, calves that are typically around 40 kilos and experiencing neonatal calf enteritis, they will lose between 5 and 15% of their body weight. Now, in mild cases of scour and moderate cases of scour, we're talking between 5% body weight and 10% body weight in respect to fluid deficits. So that equates to 2 litres of a deficit during mild diarrhea and 4 litres of a deficit during moderate diarrhea. So it's quite substantial. We have to replace these with oral fluid therapy whenever calves are experiencing it. So we'll come back to the 2 and 4 litres later. As for electrolyte derangements, what are the key electrolytes lost out the back end during cases of scour? Well, we're really losing a lot of sodium, potassium and chloride. Now, we have just recently launched a brand new product, HydroSTIM, which is an oral electrolyte solution for calves, which everyone can use this spring coming. And it contains 4 sources of sodium, 3 sources of chloride and 2 sources of potassium to really provide multiple means of getting these key electrolytes, what I call tier 1 electrolytes, back into calves. Now, why are these important? They're really important for keeping calves standing, for muscle weakness, muscle strength, and to keep them sucking. So it's really important that we get these back in adequate concentrations. For sodium, we're looking for 90 to 130 millimoles per litre. Potassium, a wee bit less, around 10 to 30 millimoles per litre. And chloride, we're probably looking in around 40 to 80 millimoles per litre. And that will provide the right concentrations, the right proportions, right concentrations, so the calves will recover quickly. Now, we have this very electrolyte-rich fluid, and we need to know how we can actually absorb that. And that would be part 2 of this science of oral fluid therapy. But that's essentially what we're looking for. We know that we're hitting that with HydroStim, our brand new oral electrolyte solution. So we've talked about fluid deficits, we've talked about electrolyte derangements. Now, what about acid-base imbalances? And this is really important because calves that experience scour go through a process known as metabolic acidosis, where systemically within their bloodstream they have a reduced pH. That makes calves very sleepy, drowsy, less likely to stand up, so they're more prone to getting more scour, they're more prone to getting more pneumonia. So we have to correct metabolic acidosis if we want calves to get back up and back suckling. So in respect to mild diarrhea, we have a base deficit of around 5%, which equates to this 120 millimoles. In moderate diarrhea, we have a metabolic acidosis where there's a 10% base deficit, equating to about 240 millimoles per litre. Now, we're actually addressing metabolic acidosis through 2 processes in HydroStim. The first one is where we have an inorganic strong ion difference of 100 millimoles per litre. So every single dose of HydroStim will deliver 200 millimoles per litre. And that is largely driven by these electrolytes. Again, why they're so important. We also have metabolizable buffers in there of up to 80 millimoles per litre. So again, every single calf that receives 2 litres of HydroStim will get twice that, 160 millimoles per litre, which if we add up, they will really address mild and moderate cases of metabolic acidosis. So calves are more likely to stay standing. Now, in respect to nutritional alterations, Clearly, calves that are experiencing any form of illness will have reduced voluntary intakes, but during scour, they will have even a reduction in their absorptive capacity of the gastrointestinal mucosa. And naturally enough, during disease, maintenance energy requirements are only going one way, and that is up. At the present moment, about 30% of a calf's maintenance energy requirements goes directly towards gastrointestinal function. So that figure is only going to go up during cases of scour. So we have included 5 key nutritional components that provide energy in HydroStim in conjunction with 4 metabolic supports. Now, on top of all of this, if we bounce on to reduced immunocompetence, we've often talked about here at Precision Microbes that 70% of all immune cells are located along the gastrointestinal mucosa, particularly in these immune-dense regions known as the gut-associated lymphoid tissue. We know how important the gut is in overall health, and therefore we know that we have to address neonatal calf enteritis adequately if we're going to have a calf that's able to fight off any other disease processes. Now, in respect to gastrointestinal dysbiosis, this is a condition characterized by where harmful microbes vastly outnumber beneficial microbes. So we do have 5 ingredients in HydroStim which assist in gut recovery, but they're not necessarily addressing gastrointestinal dysbiosis, which I will stress again is contributing towards metabolic acidosis. So how can we actually address gastrointestinal dysbiosis here? This is where the unique liquid dual function probiotic and postbiotic formula for calves comes into the equation. At 30 mils per calf per day for 30 days, so 30 for 30. And that's exactly where we're going with combining both HydroStim and our pro and postbiotic for calves. So to use HydroStim, it's 200 milliliters of the concentrated product mixed in 1.8 liters of clean water, and that will result in a dose of 2 liters per calf. And that's where we're going to address fluid deficits, electrolyte derangements, acid-base imbalances, nutritional alterations, and hopefully address immunocompetence, dysbiosis, and the gut inflammatory process. Look, I think we've hit well below the 10 minutes there, which is fantastic, but I look forward to seeing you next week.